As a candidate for the office of the mayor of the city of Atlanta, as you're out meeting the public and campaigning for votes, how do you explain the reasons for the most recent millage rate increase to the people you meet?
I did not vote for it, as you know. I was one of the 7 council members who did not support the millage rate increase. And when we don't have accurate financial information, which which I stated in my opening remarks, I was not prepared to do that. Until I know that the city is right-sized and right-positioned and I can go out and sell that to the public, I don't believe that we need to increase the millage rate. Now, that being said, I tell people all the time that the city of Atlanta has essentially 20% of every dollar. So we get 20 cents out of every dollar. Fulton County gets 30, and the school system gets 50. So, round numbers. It's important. The people in the city, most people don't know that formula. And most people do not go and even attend the millage hearings of the school board of Fulton County and even the city of Atlanta. I intend as mayor, my background is in broadcasting and communications. I intend for the citizens to know where the millage rate hearings will be, when they will be, and have people educated as to the fact that it's their money and they need to be very involved. I know that many members of this group in this audience today did go down to the school board and did get some millage rate relief. The other thing, of course, as you know, is the backdoor the backdoor increases, which are the reassessments. And we have, again, people in this room who pay incredible amounts of taxes. It's really unbelievable the amount of tax that people do pay for City of Atlanta, Fulton County, I'm speaking strictly of Fulton County, and school board. Of course, DeKalb's got its own issues with its triple whammy. So we have to get a handle on what is an appropriate level of taxation at every socioeconomic strata. Whether you are on a fixed income, retiree, whether you're a young couple starting out, and in every single economic strata in our city.
Thank you. If you are elected mayor of Atlanta, can you lower the millage rates within the next 2 to 4 years? And if you think you can, how can you do that?
I think we have to take a look at what service delivery cost. I have said that I support marketization, not privatization, but I want employees, if there is a city function, that we decide what it could be provided for, and that means a new person in procurement. There are a lot of issues there, but again, I think we can tackle that and look at employees being able to bid without constraint on how they could deliver the service. So I have stated that publicly. So I think we need to right-size government, and then we need to look at how can the city be an effective advocate for its own citizens in trying to keep millage rates lower, as well as communicating with the other 2 entities, the county government and the school board. We can't do that until our fiscal house is in order.
Okay.
But as you know, and Stan, you may not know this, but I was part of a group back in the 90s that when Fulton County had a huge rise in the millage rates and the property and the assessments in the mid-90s, I was part of the group that was called RIOT, Rollback Increase of Taxes. So I have been a fiscally conservative person for a long time.
Okay, thank you. How will the city then raise sufficient funds to operate given the recent caps on property assessments? Will additional millage rate increases be necessary in the future, you think?
Well, again, I think we've got to look at all of our revenue sources. There has been a lot of money that has not been collected in this administration, everything from fines and fees, and so I intend to do a complete overhaul of that.
So there are other sources of income you think available other than just through property tax or maybe sales tax?
Yes. Yes.
Could you explain those a little bit,
Well,
please?
I mean, everything from code enforcement, where we are not collecting, I mean, we have a tremendous amount of abandoned property. We have a tremendous amount of code violations. I have not been able to get my hands on the impact fees. And when I asked our chief financial officer about those recently, I've been asking for them for 4 years, he said, Mary, they're not in any condition that I can give them to you yet. Now, what does that mean? We have been, so, you know, where are the fees and the fines and the other sources of revenue that, that we should have been collecting or we could be collecting? And then I want that transparent. You know, if there has been tremendous new development, I want to know what we have done with those fees. Where are they? And today I can tell you, I still don't have them. And believe me, I've asked for them.
Do you think those fees, and it appears, seem very important, other sources of income, particularly when we have a declining economy and assessed values tend to be declining instead of rising?
They do, but where we are in the city is we have about half of the city's land mass that has been languishing for 50 years. And many of y'all live in neighborhoods, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, that all over the city, you've got the city, you essentially have a dividing line that is not a north-south line, it's a northwest to southeast line. And half of the city's landmass is south and west of that. And there has been very little redevelopment for 50 years. The half that's north and east of that, which is where we are today, has been developed, redeveloped, and in some cases overdeveloped. So I really believe in growing the entire city. People are coming back into our city, and what we have done is to not have them safe. And that's an issue, and it is the most important thing we can do is to have the citizens be safe. But we also have not enforced the codes, picked up the trash, done the things that we need to do to help in the revitalization efforts. And I have been a proponent for the wonderful neighborhoods that we have all across the city. I know them all. I have been involved with them all over the years. So my focus is going to be on growing the city as quickly as we can in a sustainable, holistic, good design principles so that we're going to like it when it's built.
You've mentioned growing the city a couple times. With the higher millage rates that we have today and the potential for higher millage rates over the next few years, how will that affect the economic development of the city of Atlanta tomorrow? Would it discourage the other businesses from coming into Atlanta due to high millage rates, or exactly how will the current higher millage rates affect our ability to outgrow this recession that we're in?
The people move into the city for reasons. They put up with the taxes because they want to be in the city. With our transportation challenges, as I'm out in neighborhoods, there are lots of new people moving in. But what we did is we had mortgage fraud come in on top of the influx. And, you know, mortgage fraud has just devastated whole sections of the city of Atlanta. But the neighbors are there, and they are holding on, and I want to knit those communities back together again. Now, Stan, you may not be aware, but when I was reviewing the CAFRAs, Comprehensive Annual Financial Reports, back when I first got on City Council, I noticed that there had been a rise in residential assessments, and there had not been a corresponding rise in commercial assessments. And so I figured that out back in, I want to say, 05, 06, and I went to Burt Manning, and I said, Burt, what's going on? I said, I have had 2 developers call me who have said, Mary, I'm getting such a pass with my property. I could literally, they came to me and said, this isn't fair. You know, I am paying no tax, I'm paying very little tax. So I was one of the people that brought that to the attention of the assessors. And so I wanted all property to be fairly taxed, not overtaxed or overappraised, but fairly appraised, so that residential would no longer be carrying a disproportionate burden.
Quickly, can you tell me if you, in your opinion, yes or no, maybe, or if you think efficient governments have lower millage rates than inefficient governments?
Should. There's no reason they wouldn't.
Very good. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.